Well, PMD Pro stands for Project Management for Development Professionals, and it's a contextualized certification for charities, for NGOs working on international development. And it went live 2 years ago, and since then we've had about 2,500 people doing the exam in 30-something countries, which is wonderful, really. It's really, I find that very, very exciting. And we've just launched level 2. So we had level 1, and now we've launched level 2, which is, again, I think it's certainly more difficult. It's more ambitious, more difficult for people. But in the pilot we did with World Vision in Zambia and Zimbabwe, people said, no, it's really good, it's very interesting, it's more difficult, and that's okay, which I thought was great feedback. And so we've now had the first people doing level 2 in the UK, but also in Africa. We've had World Vision staff from around Southern Africa do level 2, and we've just finished training some of them up as trainers, so they can then train their own colleagues and their own staff in project management using PMD Pro at level 1 and level 2. It gives organizations a common language to talk about projects. I mean, if you haven't got a common language, it's really hard to have a conversation about them. But it also gives people a whole range of tools and techniques that they can use to manage their work. I mean, one guy said to me, this is the first time that we've been given tools that help us do our job. Normally, people give us tools that help somebody else write a report. And I think that's a huge difference. And it's great to get stories about what's happening in different places. We've now got local organizations delivering this in Latin America and Africa, which is fantastic. And just had a story from Malawi, where one person said his program has just, both for 2 years running, has had top marks in their quality audit processes. And he put that entirely down to using the tools in PMD Pro. But I think the best story is an organization in Guatemala, small indigenous women's group, and they now receive funding because they could show that they could demonstrate the structure behind their work and their approach. They're a small organization that struggled a lot, but they've probably applied more of the tools and techniques than anybody else, and it's wonderful that they now get funding directly from a donor, and they don't have to go through anybody else, whether an international charity or whatever. So I think a lot of differences at a lot of levels. Well, I think at level 1, there's a lot of interest from a whole range of organizations. So I think what's going to happen is that more organizations are going to start using it. And we're already starting to see 1 or 2 countries where you've got, just by chance really, a number of organizations that have done PMD Pro, and they're starting to meet, and they now have a language to talk about projects across organizations. So I think there's going to be more and more of that, as, if you like, professionalization of project management starts to spread. And then I think there's going to be a cadre of people within these agencies going on to do level 2. This is going to be the more senior, the program leaders, the project leaders. Some organizations are also now really thinking about how do we integrate this with our existing business processes, and again that's necessary, and that takes a bit longer, and that's happening now as well. I mean, Mercy Corps are doing a big rollout based on that, which is very encouraging. And then I think the next one will be level 3, and level 3 is going to be an assessment of people's work. So we move from level 1, which is knowledge what, through to knowledge how and application of knowledge, because nobody ever became less poor because somebody had a certificate in project management. And what we need to do is say, how can we apply this to projects in the field?